want to share this with you about Sharon's book. And I've left links in the notes below to Sharon's book so you guys can pick up a copy. But what is cool about Sharon's book is this. When you are an author, you will write a book and your book will go places you will never go. It will meet people you will never meet, and it will touch the hearts of people you will never get to speak with. And I love the fact that Sharon has dedicated this part of her life where she could be sitting around just watching TV and watching the Real Housewives of whatever city, eating corn chips or whatever, and, enjoying the day. She's dedicated this part of her life to making a difference. And what's really graceful about this particular time of life is that no one can take this away, right? The books that people have already bought of Sharon's, those books are out there in the universe. And like I said, they'll go places she will never go. But what's really cool about that is they will touch the lives of people she will never meet. And so as a mission, as a message, she's saying, don't waste what you have. Don't be so swallowed up and, I don't want my friends to come over because my house is cluttered or what have you, but that you really honor these moments because these are the moments that define you. Right now, everything that you've ever done in your whole entire life brings you to this moment right now. What are you going to do with it?
Yes. And even this morning, the speaker I heard, she says, even the example of on my patio, I have a ground cover pot that I struggle keeping it alive. And one day I was coming out to water it and I thought, oh, yeah, if this plant isn't growing, it's dying. Well, this lady this morning used a more discreet word. She said, if you're not growing, you're shrinking. So in retirement, I could imagine a lot of people are shrinking. And that's, I plan to live to 100. And that doesn't include shrinking in my vocabulary. But I'm going to show you, well, in fact, I did this speech in Phoenix the end of September. And my name of my program was Making a Marvelous Transition into Retirement. And this little koala says, the moment that you realize you're getting old, well, my hair is changing a lot and I'm starting to consider maybe I'm getting old. But on the other side of this, what I want to show you, and you might want to take a picture of this because this is kind of my secret sauce in the helping you find your inner spark is taking what you love to do, plus your personal qualities, things like integrity and responsibility and that kind of thing. Then consider your hot buttons. What really turns you off or turns you on, negative or positive. Your aspirations would be those dreams I mentioned. And our values make a lot of difference about what brings us meaning. And then, what are some guiding principles that you've lived your life on? And we muddle that all together in some kind of antidote, or I think of the parables in the Bible as being a metaphor. That's the word I want. And when I first discovered my inner spark, we were in a coaching class. The instructor had us stand in a circle and read our inner spark to each other. And as it was my turn, I kind of choked at first. It moved me to tears because nobody had ever asked me to describe what felt like my soul. Here's my inner spark. I am precious jewel of wisdom. I am colorful collaborator, motivator, and learner. I am tranquil, authentic, and pure inspirer. I light fires. And maybe I'll light your fire today.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I love that you articulated it. Because until we articulate exactly what it is that we think about ourselves, we can't articulate it to someone else. And if we have a mission, which we do, and I know we do because we're all still alive, right? You're still alive, you have a mission. And so if you don't know what your mission is, or you don't know what your purpose is, it's because you probably just haven't articulated it yet. And I think one of the most interesting and fascinating ideas is to stop and say, how do I really feel about this concept? Like, what is my inner spark? Like what Sharon is saying. And I know for me, the time came back 33 years ago. I went through the same exercise and I was like, wait a second, how do I feel about life? Because I grew up also on a farm, but I was given a set of beliefs. Hey, in our family, we believe this. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what we believe. And I didn't question it. until I moved away from home. And then I'm like, hey, wait a second. There's stuff going on out here in the other world that I didn't know about that doesn't fit into my little pattern of belief. And so is it true? Is it false? Like, what do I really believe? And I started looking at everything that my parents taught me. One of the things, unfortunately, was my parents did not believe in sugar. And when I moved out into the world, I was like, wait a second, I'm learning about ice cream and all kinds of fun stuff. Do I really believe in that? And I was like, oh, yeah, I do. And the reason they didn't believe in it was because, of the weight gain and the diabetes and all the things that are associated with that. And I had to learn the hard way. I put on a ton of weight the first year I lived away from home. And then I was like, oh, wait a second, maybe I should rethink that idea. Maybe mom and dad weren't so far off their rocker. That might have been a good belief. Let me go back to the way it was. Okay. But by questioning it, I got to explore and I got to say, is this what I believe? And then I was like, oh, wait a second, not a good belief. Let me back up a couple of steps. But I did that with all different kinds of areas of my life. And then I found myself in this weird state of questioning everything. Like, hey, is this good or is this bad? Or do I believe this? Do I still believe it? And what I discovered for me, and this goes back to what is that inner spark? Because I had hit a particular phase of my life where I was in a serious state of post-traumatic stress disorder. And it was from a business that went bad. I took ownership of a business that had 10 years of employee withholding taxes that had not been paid. And when I took ownership of that business, the IRS came at me with like mad force. I started questioning everything. Okay. But during that process, what I learned was everything that brought me to this moment, if we go back to that perfect moment in time, everything that brought me to this moment makes me who I am today.
Mhm.
And so if I didn't like it, that doesn't make it wrong. That doesn't make it bad. It means it brought me to who I am today with the understanding that I have today. Okay, cool. Now, if I could start my life all over again right now, knowing what I know now, would I do it any differently? That's where it gets interesting.